20-year-old female, am pregnant with my boyfriend's 21-year-old male, baby. Now, before you judge, we weren't trying to get pregnant by any means, but we also aren't mad about it. We are very close to my boyfriend's grandparents. We speak with them every day, and they always tell him that the baby better come out with my particular features. Well, when we found out what we were having, we were speaking with his grandma, semi-privately. We were far enough from the group at the gender reveal party so no one could hear us, and she had expressed her concerns about my boyfriend's mom being alone with the baby. For background information, when my boyfriend was young, his mom had traded him to her boyfriends for drugs. They did many unspeakable things to him that, his grandma said, took him years to recover from. I met my boyfriend when he was 18 and didn't know about it until we started dating. My mother had wandered over to us at that moment and had asked what she meant by that. My boyfriend's grandma explained, and my mom had simply said she personally wouldn't let her. But it is mom and dad's, meaning me and my boyfriend's decision, and not up to her. I had simply said that we hadn't talked about it because we were concerned about it, since his mom was doing so well. His grandma explained that she didn't like the idea of her babysitting, but she would support our decision either way. Later that night, when my boyfriend and I were in bed, he brought it up and it took me by surprise. He told me that he knew he had a good relationship with his mom, but he didn't want his mom to be alone with the baby, but he would support me if I wanted to let her watch the baby. I agreed with him, saying that I am just one parent and that if he wasn't comfortable, then I am supportive of that decision. Our daughter's safety came before his mom's feelings, and that was the end of the conversation. A few days ago, when we were with his sister, who lives with his mom, by the way, she brought up being able to babysit. When she noticed the grim look on my boyfriend's face, she asked what it was about. Side note, I knew my boyfriend would never say no to his mom and sister, so I would have to speak up when that came up. I am completely fine with that. Fine. Anyway, I simply told her that she would not be babysitting as long as she lived with their mom, and that when she moved out, she is more than welcome to. She asked me why, and I told her that I would not be putting my daughter in a situation where his mom could sell her to a man for drugs if she happened to relapse. She started yelling, saying her mom was better and that I was all sorts of names for taking her grandbaby away from her. I tried to explain that we would let her see the baby whenever she would like, but she just couldn't babysit or have the baby overnight. When my boyfriend's sister started yelling at my boyfriend, he told her that it was a mutual decision and that he wouldn't go against anything either of us were not comfortable with. His sister left, and later that day, both our phones started blowing up from texts from his mom saying that we were treating her completely unfairly and shouldn't judge her based on her past. We haven't answered any messages and both feel horrible about it. So, am I the idiot for telling his sister that their mom wasn't allowed to babysit our daughter? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Big, not the idiot. Let's talk about responsibility. If you take responsibility for something, that means that not only do you recognize that you did wrong, but you recognize that the consequences of that thing are your fault and your cross to bear. Mom is not taking responsibility. Taking responsibility would be to recognize that what she did was unthinkably, unspeakably, abhorrently bad, and that there is literally nothing in the entire world she can do to truly make it whole again because she can't go back in time and stop her son from being abused. And one of the consequences of that is her son and his partner won't be trusting her alone with the baby. That is her cross to bear. It's a consequence she brought on herself. And thus, not being trusted is not some unfair penalty being unjustly assigned to her, but a direct result of her own god-awful actions. She may well be better or clean, and maybe even is a good person that would never do such a thing again. But that doesn't matter. What matters is the trust between mother and son was broken those many years ago. It will never truly heal, and that's just how it is. If you throw the glass on the ground, it shatters, and no amount of apologizing or applying superglue will unshatter it. So here's what you do. Send an email from both of you. Maybe even make a shared email address so it doesn't come from one or the other. Or write and print a physical letter and you both sign it. Tell her you understand she's been through some dark places in life. You understand she's done things she regrets. You understand she probably wishes she could take those things back. But the fact is, she did them. She willingly allowed her son to be abused. And while you understand addiction is awful, she needs to understand that what she did is awful, and it can't be undone. There's a level of trust that can never truly be whole again. You want her to know her grandchild. You want the grandchild to bring joy to her life. But because of the choices she made in the past, she won't be alone with the grandchild. And that's just the consequence of her actions. That's her cross to bear. Same as how a lifelong smoker with emphysema now has to lug an oxygen tank around. She needs to understand that is a decision you both made together. As a couple, it's not either of you forcing this decision on the other. Signed, the _____ family. Comment 2. Stop feeling horrible about it. You're not at fault. She did what she did, and there are long-term consequences. I would personally reply to mother-in-law's texts with, I'm glad to hear you're better. However, my concern is not whether you're better. I already believed that you are, or you would not be part of our lives right now. It's what happens if you relapse. I was planning to have you visit with baby often, but you will not be alone with baby, and that is not negotiable. I am not interested in whether or not I am treating you unfairly. Fair has nothing to do with it. You will have to take responsibility for your past actions and accept that this is an unavoidable consequence of them. If you want to argue about it, I can block you and you won't meet baby at all, ever. Comment 3. 100% not the idiot. She needs to understand that she's made mistakes that still have consequences. I'm sure your BF still lives with those consequences, so she doesn't get to magically be off the hook. Your baby's safety is the #1 important thing here. It's fantastic she's gotten her life together and has been able to build a relationship with her children, but she should understand your hesitation given her past. Stick to your guns. Sounds like you're both already on your way to being great parents. Now, for the update. So, we've had a wild couple of weeks, to say the least. My boyfriend's sister, let's call her E, did not let the babysitting issue go. She started showing up at our house unexpectedly, banging on the door, demanding to see her niece. We live in an apartment complex, and our neighbors were getting disturbed by her antics. We had to call the police on her when she showed up drunk one evening, causing a scene in the parking lot and threatening us. She was taken into custody for public intoxication, and the court has issued a restraining order against her. Meanwhile, the boyfriend's grandma, G, had a heart-to-heart with us. She revealed that E has been struggling with substance abuse, just like their mother. It was a shock to us because we weren't aware of E's addiction issue, but it explained her aggressive behavior. G requested us not to involve the police in future and instead suggested a family intervention to get E into rehab. That's decided for next weekend. On a different note, my boyfriend's mother, M, has now started a smear campaign against us on social media and within the family. She's claiming that we're denying her rights as a grandmother and that we're the reason E is falling off the wagon. Some distant relatives, who don't know the whole story, are now taking her side, and we're being bombarded with messages to let bygones be bygones and to give M a chance. To add to the drama, I had a false labor scare last week. Turned out to be Braxton Hicks contractions, but the stress of the whole situation isn't doing me or the baby any good, so we have decided to take a break. My boyfriend and I are going to spend some time at my parents' place across the state. They've been supportive throughout this ordeal and agree that a break will do us good. In the midst of all this, we got some unexpected support from my boyfriend's father. He had been mostly absent from his son's life, having left M when the boyfriend was very young. But he reached out to us after hearing about the fiasco through the family grapevine. He apologized for M's and E's behavior and offered to mediate the situation. He's also promised to attend E's intervention. We've accepted his help reluctantly, knowing we need all the support we can get. So that's the update. It's been a whirlwind and not at all how we imagined the last weeks of my pregnancy would be. But we're trying to remain positive, focusing on welcoming our little one into a safe and loving environment. We're still firm on our decision of not allowing M to be alone with our daughter, and we hope that with time, the rest of the family will understand our concerns too. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. It's clear you're trying to ensure the safety and well-being of your own family, which is your top priority. E's substance abuse issues are unfortunate, but it's not your responsibility to fix them, especially when she's shown up drunk and threatened you. As for M, her smear campaign seems like a manipulative way to divert attention from E's behavior and place the blame on you, which is totally unacceptable. 2. Not the idiot. You are doing an excellent job at setting boundaries for your own and your family's safety. The fact that M began a smear campaign against you rather than addressing E's issues directly shows where her priorities lie. Your boyfriend's father's offer to mediate is a good sign, and I hope it helps the situation. However, your decision to not allow M to be alone with your daughter is justified considering the circumstances. 3. Not the idiot. It's obvious that you're dealing with a lot right now. You're not only trying to protect your family from E's disruptive behavior, but also dealing with M's smear campaign. The fact that you've taken a step back to protect your own mental health shows that you're making the best decisions for yourself and your family. You're not responsible for E's actions or her addiction. It's important to ensure a safe and stable environment for your child, and if that means M can't be alone with her, then you're making the right call. Now, for the next story. I am 16-year-old. My stepbrother is 17-year-old. I got accepted into a dual enrollment program at my community college and need a laptop. I got a job over the summer and worked non-stop to save up for it. My stepmom told me to give her the money and she'd order it for me because she wanted to gift me AppleCare. After 2 weeks of the laptop not getting here, I asked her if she could check and see what's going on. She said that she did receive it but gifted it to my stepbrother and he sold it. She said that ever since my dad passed away, he's had to go without because she has custody of me. I told her that she shouldn't have accepted taking custody of me if she felt this way. She started crying and locked herself in her room. My stepbrother called me ungrateful and now neither is talking to me. I gave up my junior and senior year at my high school so I could graduate with college credits. I am on track for an athletic scholarship. I am doing everything I can to not be a financial burden. I am so mad that I worked so hard for months and now I have no money and no laptop. But I also get that she's not my mom, so I don't know. Am I the idiot at it? I am so overwhelmed because everyone is saying she's receiving survivor benefits. I looked it up and it seems like you're all right. She's always told me that all Dad did was leave her a house and nothing else. I have not bought clothes since my dad died. I eat as little as possible. I try not to ask for anything. I am just so confused and feeling so betrayed. A lot of you are telling me to call CPS or move. I have nowhere to go. I have my grandparents, but they're really old and live in a community for the elderly in another state, and they'd get kicked out if we got caught. I'd also give up the only viable path I have to go to college. Some of you are telling me to sue her or call the police. If I do that, she'd definitely give up custody and I'd end up in a group home. I was in a group home for a while before my dad received custody of me, and trust me when I say that it is 1,000,000 times worse. I can't do anything about it. It's just a loss, but I appreciate you all opening my eyes to the truth. This whole time I've felt like a burden and did feel ungrateful for this situation, but it seems as though I was the one that was taken advantage of. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. Your stepmom scammed you out of your money. If you can, you need to start getting yourself financially independent of her, start looking into emancipation of minors, making sure she can't hinder you getting a scholarship or having access to bank accounts, etc. Also, you are not a burden. You are a child and should be helped. If your father had a job, he should have left some insurance, retirements, and social security from all that work that your stepmom should be using for y'all. If she's not getting it, something is wrong. So do not sign anything your stepmom gives you without properly reading it, like ever. Also talk to other family members who were close to your dad about all this, maybe even a guidance counselor in school so you don't end up getting tricked. Comment 2. Talk to your high school guidance counselor about becoming an independent student or an emancipated minor. Find something with your dad's social security number on it or ask your grandmother. Then contact the Social Security Administration about your dad's benefits and see if you can claim them for yourself. Find your birth certificate and Social Security card or order new ones. The birth certificate will cost you a little. Have them mailed to a friend's house or your grandmother's. Do not say a word to your stepmother or stepbrother. Comment 3. Not the idiot. Your stepmom is receiving Social Security benefits for you, so unless you have expensive hobbies or taste in clothes, her going without is untrue. In the interim, contact the community college and let an advisor know of your situation. They may be able to either give you one or loan you one for now. Good luck, Op. Now, for the update. Over the last 2 weeks, I've been scouring the house for any evidence of the laptop's whereabouts, all while dealing with my stepmother's silent treatment and my stepbrother's relentless taunting. Then, on Tuesday, I discovered the laptop's box stashed away in my stepbrother's room while he was out. It was empty, of course, but it had a shipping label with a tracking number on it. A quick search online showed that the laptop had been delivered a week earlier than my stepmother had claimed. I confronted her, waving the box like damning evidence in a courtroom drama. She just looked at me, stone-faced, and repeated that I was ungrateful. The next day, I found out that my stepbrother hadn't sold the laptop, but pawned it. Turns out, he owed some shady characters a good chunk of money and used my laptop as collateral. I was fuming. I stormed into my stepmom's room, demanding that she help retrieve it, but she just shrugged and said it wasn't her problem. Out of options and desperate, I found myself trudging to the pawn shop, armed with the evidence of the box and my summer's pay slips. The shop owner, a gruff man with a surprisingly kind heart, heard my story and agreed to return the laptop for a fraction of its worth. It took every penny remaining from my summer job, but at least I had the laptop back. Meanwhile, I've been quietly gathering evidence about my stepmother's mismanagement of my father's survivor benefits. I found bank statements that show she's been using the money on lavish vacations and designer clothes while telling me it had run dry. A friend's mom, who's a lawyer, agreed to help me build a case pro bono. I managed to secure temporary housing with a sympathetic teacher from the college, so at least I have somewhere to stay while this mess unfolds. I'm exhausted, I'm angry, but I'm resolved. I miss my dad more than ever, but I know what I'm doing is what he would have wanted. I'm fighting for my education and for my future. I'll keep you all updated as things progress. Thanks for your support. Now, for the comments. 1. Not the idiot. Your stepmother and stepbrother have crossed major boundaries by interfering with your property and personal affairs. It's not just about the laptop anymore, but about the principle of respect and trust within a family. It's commendable that you took the initiative to retrieve what's rightfully yours and that you're standing up against your stepmother's misuse of funds. You're not just protecting yourself, but also your father's legacy. 2. Definitely not the idiot. It's your right to defend yourself from such manipulative behavior. It's a shame your stepmother is enabling your stepbrother's bad habits instead of teaching him accountability. It's great that you have friends and teachers who can provide you with support in this situation. Make sure to keep all evidence and document everything for your case. 3. Not the idiot at all. It's clear that your stepmother and stepbrother have been taking advantage of your situation. It's admirable that you're not only standing up for yourself, but also for your father's rights. Remember, even though you're going through a tough time, you're not alone. Reach out to your support network, continue your education, and strive for the future you deserve. Now, for the next story. I, 30 years old, have been married to my husband, 34 years old, for 5 years. We've been together for 12 years. During the first couple of years of marriage, we always did every holiday at my in-laws' house. They live in a big house that can fit the whole family. In 2020, early 2021, they moved into a much smaller rental while they built their dream house, also known as another mini mansion. We had just built our first home together and then moved holidays to our house since we had a larger house. We also had 2 kids at the time, and we were expecting our 3rd baby. My parents live over an hour away and only feel comfortable coming to my house for holidays. So before we had moved holidays to our house, We had to split the day in half and drive to his parents' house either in the morning or afternoon, and then have to come back home and cook a whole separate dinner. This would cause so much tension and arguing between my husband and myself. It would also cut into our kids' nap times, and it would just be chaos. If you know, then you know, LOL. Fast forward to the present day, 2023. His family has moved into their new house, and we moved into our second home. We moved over an hour and a half away from his family and mine. My husband and I want to keep having holidays at our house with or without his family. I know my family will come regardless since we have grandkids. My husband's family, on the other hand, is being much more dramatic about it. My husband and I are the only ones with small children. We now have 4 kids and a newborn. It is much easier for us to just stay home on the holidays going forward so we can at least enjoy the day, and we're not having to drag our kids out for half the day and drive 4 hours to and from for holidays. His family thinks we are being selfish for not wanting to come to their home on Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, and so forth. They say we need to be selfless to preserve family connections. We told his parents and his brother and sister that once they have children, then they will understand. Are we the jerks? Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. Not the idiot. This is a pretty common issue. There are various ways to handle it. You can split or rotate holidays, so sometimes you're at your house and sometimes theirs. What my mom used to do is have us all over to her house on Christmas Eve. She knew we all had our own lives and didn't want to interfere, but still wanted to see us. She used to have Thanksgiving at her house, but it was a lot of work, and she announced she was done by 1 year, saying she'd be happy to come to one of her kids' houses for Thanksgiving. We got the hint, and she rotated through after that. There is something to be said for being the only ones with small kids. His parents and siblings don't have to pack a bunch of crap to travel like you do. My brother and I used to tease each other about that, even though we live about 10 mins apart. He has more kids, but I have the youngest. We just ended up rotating. Once you have your own family, there's nothing wrong with wanting to start your own traditions. Comment 2. Not the idiot. There is no reason, even if you didn't have kids, for you and hubby to stay home and have your own holiday celebrations. I'm of the belief that once I pay rent or mortgage, that you can start my own traditions and celebrations. I would ask why it's so imperative that you spend it with them and miss out on holidays with your own family. At this point, it's about fairness and ease. Why transport a family of 6 when you don't have to? We appreciate that viewpoint and are interested in preserving family connections with my side, while also maybe start some of our own family traditions, and that happen at our home. Comment 3. One idea is to do Christmas Eve with one family Christmas morning at home and possibly Christmas afternoon or the next day with the other family. That's what we do. We just wanted to let you know that we want our kids to be able to have their wake up and see their presents under the tree moment, so we'll just be doing Christmas morning at home. We are inviting anyone who would love to come to Christmas dinner later that day. Otherwise, we could see you another time during the holiday season. Now, for the update. All right, so the last 2 weeks have been an absolute whirlwind. The holiday drama has escalated beyond all our expectations. A week ago, I discovered my spouse's little sister has been posting passive-aggressive comments about us on her social media, like cryptic quotes about family and gratitude, clearly aimed at us. It was infuriating, but we decided to let it go, not wanting to add fuel to the fire. But this weekend, the tension reached a boiling point. Remember how my in-laws, in their newly built dream house, had offered to host a pre-Easter brunch for everyone? We agreed to attend, hoping it would help smooth things over. We packed up all the kids, prepared a mountain of food, and made the 90-minute drive. All seemed okay at first, but then, after a few drinks, my brother-in-law let slip that they'd all been talking behind our backs, accusing us of using our kids as an excuse to avoid family gatherings. I'll admit, my spouse lost their cool. A shouting match ensued, with harsh words thrown around carelessly. It was a disaster. We ended up leaving abruptly, with the kids upset and confused. The fallout was just as bad. Accusatory messages, angry phone calls. It was nonstop. The worst part was when my mother-in-law called, crying, begging us to put the family first and reconsider our decision. It was heartbreaking. Then 2 days ago, my spouse's cousin, who'd been silent for so long, suddenly entered the fray. She's a single mom with a demanding job and a 2-year-old. She messaged us, expressing how she completely understood our situation. She revealed that she had also been under pressure to attend every family event, causing her stress and disrupting her child's routine. She decided to take a stand, backed by our previous decisions, and told the family she too would be staying home for the holidays. This caused another uproar. Now, the family is divided in 2 camps: those who support the right to choose what's best for immediate families, and those who believe we're tearing the family apart. We're still processing everything. Part of us is glad that we're not alone anymore, but the other part is sad about the rift it's caused. We still maintain we're doing what's best for our kids, but we never intended for it to spiral this far out. That's where we are now. It's been a roller coaster, and we're just buckling in for the ride. We'll see where we end up, hopefully with a peaceful resolution. Now, for the comments. Not the idiot. Your spouse's family sound like they've been stirring up drama and then blaming you for the fallout. You've every right to prioritize your immediate family, especially when the extended family is being toxic and disrespectful. Everyone sucks here. While it's clear that your in-laws have issues with boundaries, it also seems like you and your spouse could have handled the situation better. Rather than storming out and causing a scene, you could have discussed your concerns privately after the brunch. Not the idiot. The cousin's support shows that you're not the only one feeling this way. It's important to stand your ground and protect your kids from toxic family dynamics. It may cause temporary discomfort, but it's healthier in the long run. If you liked this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day!